Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, viewers. Welcome back to part 2 of this today real talk, a debate around Muslims and the Muslim community and the recent establishment by the government of this new organization called the British Muslim Trust. Particularly the reason for the establishing this group is to monitor and capture data around anti-Muslim hate crime. Now, as my guests have already spoken about this before, and we've had Tel Mama, which was doing that before, so there's a history of capturing data, but also individual organizations in communities, like the Council of Mosque or the Kismet Center and Maqsood's organizations in Manchester, were actually capturing some of this information because people were coming to them and telling them about what was happening in their own communities. Oh, you have a caller waiting. We have a caller coming. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please, can you give me your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I have a few points.
Can I have your name and where you're calling from, please?
Mrs. Tahir from Bradford.
Mrs. Tahir from Bradford. Oh, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. I am fine, alhamdulillah.
Good, subhanallah. What would you like to say?
Until we as a Muslim don't engage ourselves into community properly, like instead of building only our own business and our own interest, if we care about other people's interest and we discover problems of the community as a whole and we get united and have some platforms or forums how to get together and discover these problems. And
Mrs. Tahir,
Mrs.
Tahir, can I just stop? How long have you lived in Bradford by any chance? Can you let me know?
It's nearly like 30 years.
Okay. Well, Ishtiaq, who is with me today, is one of the founders of the interfaith community, right?
Yes.
And community organizations. And he's been, last week he was involved in interfaith work as well in Bradford. So that's been going on for a very long time. And ostensibly, and in reality, if you look at the Muslim community in Bradford, it's one of those communities which has been very proactive in working with the local community to overcome some of the challenges, not just within the Muslim community, but the other community as well. So if you look at my Lahore, Agra, the Curry Kitchen in Bradford, they've been doing a lot of work where there's been supporting.
No, I'm saying, hello?
Yeah, go on.
The reason I want to say that youth and our children, they should be aware of, I know that they are very knowledgeable, they are aware of problems, but there is no solution. We can only control the government affairs by only when we are very active in the society and in community to for our problems. We get active and we care about problems and discover them problems, and until we are not very active and engaged, we can't control government affairs.
Okay, thank you very much for your thoughts. I'll just come back to my guest. Thank you, Mrs. Tahir. May Allah bless you. Now, obviously, you two have been very active in your communities. I know Ishtiaq much better than you because I live in this area, and he's been instrumental in a lot of. So, if you look at COVID, some of the stuff that the Kismet Center did, for example, was absolutely unbelievable. They were going out feeding people, mainly non-Muslims, who were not able to go out, who had nobody to look after them. I think you were doing 100 meals a day or more than 120 meals a day, where colleagues, Muslim colleagues from the Kismet Center were going delivering meals to people, weren't they?
When you leave things in the hands of the community, when you trust the community, okay, and when you make resources available to the community to manage their affairs, we do very well.
Oh, yes.
When others come to do things for us on our behalf, that's when the things get messed up. Yeah? And you asked, I think you asked a very important question, that what is it that British Muslim Trust needs to do? I think they need to actually go back to the community. They need to revisit their terms of references. They need to talk to people like Maqsood and others who are frontliners. They need to talk to people who have been victims of hate. Okay? And I think they will get direction, they will get guidance, and they will get input, which will inform their work. So I think there's no substitute to actually engaging and involving communities, and particularly those people who are on the front line.
Mrs. Tahir's point, I'm paraphrasing, in case I just got it wrong, Mrs. Tahir, I hope I haven't, was that we need to take more active engagement work within our communities. So what I'm saying is we're already doing that. Maqsood, we've been doing that for the last 30, 40 years.
And I agree with her up to an extent, but I think, for example, take myself and Ishtiaq and yourself, you know, we integrated to this community very well. In fact, you know, we are British Muslims. The issue isn't with me as far as my challenge is. The issue is with the racism. The issue is with the exclusion. The people exclude us because they feel we don't belong in a sense, and we get that on a regular basis. We've been dealing with this issue about racism for nearly 40 years through our organizations. You know, like I said before, the British National Party, the National Front, Combat 18, now we've got Reform and we've got all these others come through. So the issue isn't about the community. The Muslim community is the most generous community, charitable community in the United Kingdom. We raise more funds for here and for outside than any other faith group. Are you with me, Iqbal Bhai, from that side of it?
Oh,
we speak English, we eat fish and chips and mushy peas. We can't be any more integrated than what we already are. The issue for me has been this. We don't have any influence with the second largest majority as a minority community, but we have zero influence. There are other groups who are not even 1%, but they have 90% influence. And if we don't get involved, and this is where I agree with the sister, if we don't get involved in the politics of exclusion, and if we don't get involved in the policy which politics dictate, then as a group of people, as a community, we'll always be behind. And that's where we lack, our community lacks. We're not active in politics, and we're not active in policy.
Or we are active, but not in a cohesive way.
We're not active in a cohesive, united way.
Because if you look at Bradford, the number of councillors that we've got, I don't know how many there are. I think, is it 35, 36?
Something like that.
Muslim councillors?
Something like that.
We got, how many have we got in Manchester?
Yeah, we got, in Rochdale alone, we got 11. And in Manchester, we got about 40, 45, 50. So yes, you're right. Over the years, Ishtiaq and myself and Naeem, may Allah bless him, and the others who were in the Race Quality Council, we always felt that if we get black and brown faces into politics, they will help us. I was wrong. I don't know about you, Ishtiaq, but I was completely wrong. We didn't get the right people in. If we got the right people in, and that's what the way I link the sister's question is, we haven't done our bit getting the right people in politics.
I mean, this is a debate Ishtiaq and I had a few months ago.
Until our community raises its consciousness, and it's not just about relying on black and brown faces, how good are we influencing the white MPs? Has our mosque ever had meetings with MPs on a regular basis to talk about Israel, to talk about Pakistan, to talk about India, to talk about the issues that are affecting us? We've got thousands of mosques throughout the country, but we don't have any influence. Not in politics, and neither in policy. And if you don't have influence as a community in politics or policy and influence the media, we'll always be beggars. Nigel Farage will always do well because we're not counteracting Nigel Farage.
I think we need to do more, and I think we are united in that.
Absolutely.
We need to be proactive. We also need to start taking control of things and issues that impact on us, and not always leave it to others. You know, one of my experience has been when community gets together, you can see the impact. We saw that through 1980s. We saw that through the 1990s, and so on and so forth. Whenever the community organizes, becomes politically involved, raises its voices, and talks directly to the policymakers, it makes, and the government as subsequent governments have become aware of that. So what they've done is that they've done two things. One is that they have actually tried in a very kind of sneaky kind of ways to dismantle all the networks and all the forums which once actually, and racial equality councils is one example.
Network, absolutely right.
Dismantle them, so we don't have actually a platform to speak on. Okay. The second thing they have done is to actually create layers and layers of buffer. So we can't actually directly access. Every time we want to access a Quango, another setup is placed in our ways to actually keep us at distance.
So they become like gatekeepers.
Absolutely. So yeah. So what sister said is important. I think we need to be politically aware. We need to engage ourselves. You know, one of the mistakes I think we did make, and I agree with you about the elected councillors, that we had a vision, and the vision was that we want as many people from our communities actually in the council chambers representing us.
Absolutely.
What we did not do is to actually nurture people to make sure that when they are elected, they have a right kind of thinking, right kind of tools, and right kind of motivations to be able to go and make an impact. Yeah, people have got onto the councils. Okay, democracy. One of the problems with democracy is that democracy has habit of producing sometimes people who are not necessarily fit for the purpose.
Exactly. Yes.
Not fit for the purpose.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I think we need to perhaps revisit some of those things. And I think we need to do a political awareness, political education in our communities. We need to get into training. We need to get people engaged into, and then actually make sure that people who go forward, we don't want to manage them, but when they do go forward, they have right kind of thinking, motivation, and have all the tools to be able to make an impact. That's where we lack. That's where we need to revisit. But that's not an excuse.
And Ishtiaq is
that is not an excuse for the
because
government.
we worked with what we had.
Ishtiaq is absolutely right.
Yeah.
But there's one difference that I see from what he said. See, that's fine if we've got an equal environment, a fair environment.
Equal playing field.
But this ideology fails when we have an environment that actually strategically is against the Muslims. What I mean by that is that democracy in the United Kingdom and Europe and in the United States actually is not democracy. It's been bought by the billionaires to set the agenda. So we've got additional pressure as a Muslim community that other communities don't have, because the billionaires are indicating to the politicians and the others who the new enemy is going to be in Europe. And we, Islam and Muslims, have become the new enemy in Europe, and so it's a worldwide issue. Israel is a classical example why 90% of the world population supports Palestine and they believe genocide is taking place. But the politicians of the European, the Western, and even the Arab countries feel there's no genocide taking place.
I agree, but
Do you see what I'm saying? So the decision makers who can stop that are the politicians,
I
not
agree,
the population.
I agree with that analysis.
And that issue for me is that we have an additional challenge.
But I mean, Ishtiaq's point is
So
about
you with
the
me?
quality of the people.
That's
we put
I
forward.
agree with
Yeah,
that.
but the quality of the people, and I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
The quality of people is not just about, see, while we change anti-racism policies ourselves, we come with a strategy. The racists also come up with a strategy. So their strategy is this. Iqbal is very sharp, and so is Ishtiaq. We're not going to give them a safe seat. We'll give Maqsood Ahmed a safe seat because he can't read and write. He's only come from Pakistan and India 10 years ago. So we'll give him a seat. Why? Because we can control Maqsood Ahmed because he's not our
But isn't that
support.
part of
And if you
what
look at-
Ishtiaq is saying?
but if you
we
look
need to
at-
nurture people.
No, but you
We
don't
need to
nurture
nurture people.
But you can nurture people when you're in the system. But if the system takes on people that actually can't even read a policy, how are you going to nurture them?
No, but
But I mean,
yeah.
So what I'm saying
me-
is
because
this is a challenge.
I agree with a lot of, but what I'm saying, my kind of in a way thinking is that we know the challenges. We also know the fact that system actually works on the basis of divide and rule. It has always done.
Yeah.
Okay, and you gave a very good example of it. Okay, the system also manipulates community
Absolutely.
to suit itself. Okay, so either we actually say we accept that, or we say what is it that we as a community can do. And I'm actually always said that we have to actually give our community the political awareness that you are thinking about.
Agreed.
So they can safeguard themselves against being
Agreed.
divided and ruled. We also need to nurture people, train and give them skills people who really understand how the system works. So when they actually get into the system, they have some tools to be able to
Have we
negotiate.
seen glimpses of that at the last general election? Because in a lot of areas, like your area, Bradford area, my area, there were a new breed of young people who wanted to challenge the status quo.
But those young people were invested in enormously by the community to almost prepare them
Right.
to actually get to and that's what I'm saying, that maybe we don't actually accept anymore who's actually put in front of us. Yeah, we need to be more discerning, asking more questions. Something. As far as the billionaires are concerned and the millionaires are concerned, they are in the business of manipulation. They will buy the political system always. And there will be always politicians who are quite prepared to be sold. Okay.
And
I
I do a lot of work with young people.
I was just going
and
to come to that.
And I've been talking
Yeah.
to young people, and I'm telling you the next challenges for the political system in all parties is going to be this. Because we've got young people who are asking, I don't really care whether you're an Asian, Indian or Pakistani anymore. I care what your moral authority is, what your views are and what your values are. Is your values on starving thousands of children in Palestine and you're going to stand by that, then you're not going to get my vote. If you believe in the genocide, then you ain't going to get my vote. So the people's perception of what's happening, one thing Gaza and Palestine has done is waking some of the young people up. And they're saying, just because we got a black and brown face in positions of power or political power doesn't mean they're going to be helping us. And I think that's a danger for them. It's a danger for political parties. Because people
I know both of you in your respective
and that's
areas.
what I'm saying is
have
that
been
it's going
working.
to change. And that's
Yeah.
where I'm hopeful that people are not just, I've changed my mind. To be honest with you, when I was in the race equality movement for 8-9 years with Ishtiaq and Neembai and everybody else, our aim was to get more diversity, more reflection in. I've completely come around 360 degrees. I'm saying I don't care because we've tried the black and brown faces. It hasn't worked for us.
They failed us.
So now we've got to go back into it as a community and saying, I don't care if you're white. I want to see what your values are. Are you putting human rights first or are you putting potholes first?
I think that also applies to
That is going to be the issue.
that also applies to our own politicians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
that, I'm not interested whether you are Asian, whether you are Afro-Caribbeans, whether you are white, whether you are something. We want to know where do you stand on the
Exactly.
issues that mostly that concern us. Okay,
Yeah.
that's important. But I'm also saying that there's no substitute to actually visible presence within these institutions of people who have moral values, people who are well trained, people who have that community kind of awareness. There is no substitute for that either, because if we don't do that, then you always will be an outsider.
And I know both of you have been sort of on this track to try and nurture young people with that awareness, with that knowledge. And we've seen some of the fruits of that already. And in 2 weeks' time, my guests are going to be the Leeds Young Muslim Forum, right? For young people. There's about 10 of them who've been nurtured by Hanif Malik, a very good friend of ours, who is sort of, working with them very closely. And that is what they're talking about, that, we need to change the politics. We need to change internally as well as externally. And I'm sure you're doing that in Manchester as well. Now you've mentioned that to me. Is that something that the community needs to be more involved with now?
Absolutely, not just the young men and young women, but also the sisters as well. We need the leaderships actually to be conscious of what's happening around them, how the system works, and how politics works. Because every political party's got issues of exclusion, racism, discrimination. they've changed as well. Like we've been changing to become more active on human rights. They've also changed their policies and procedures and the way they do stuff to make sure that they get the right people. Because I remember one white politician saying to me, Maksud, you white, black and brown people, you've got them. Now stop mourning. Why are you still mourning about black and brown people? Not enough in the council and not enough elected members. And he was right. It's just that we had the wrong ones. We elected the wrong ones.
We're coming to nearly the end of the program. Ishtiaq, I have a lot of respect for you. I've known you. You've been involved right at the height of the highest, challenging discrimination. What do you see the future for the next 10 years for the Muslim community in this country? I mean, we've got a very limited time, so...
I think we have to rethink.
All right.
We rethink where we have been in the past, where we are, and where we wish to go in the future.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of work which needs to be done. You know, one of the things that we have stopped doing, we have actually stopped creating political awareness within our communities.
Right.
Okay, we sometimes I feel that we as a community have become too comfortable. And too much kind of say we are okay.
I'm okay. I'm all right,
okay.
Jack.
Okay. Okay. We are going to be in a serious trouble.
Agree.
If we don't wake up. And that is about political awareness.
I'm going to have to stop you there. Maksud, 10 seconds, please.
Yeah, and I agree with what Ishtiaq by saying. On top of that, I would say our community's got to get more political aware and policy aware. How politics, and media. Because if you look at media, it's playing a massive part, huge role
in fomenting all this hatred as well.
Absolutely. So those
I'm
three
sure those who watch this program will find today's discussion debate really of interest, because as Maksud and Ishtiaq said, we are now getting to that stage where we seriously need to look at where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Inshallah, I'll see you soon next week. In the meantime, take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And as I keep saying every week, please continue to make du'as for our brothers and sisters in Palestine, particularly in Gaza, who are under a lot of siege at the moment, and they're suffering huge challenges. And may Allah protect them and give them strength. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.